Welcome to the Financial Architects Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Makovsky, here with Larry Steinberg, the Chief Investment Officer of Financial Architects, and now also the Chief Investment Officer of the newly launched registered investment advisor firm, Cabin Advisors. First question, Larry. You've been around a long time. Looking at your history, you started in a bank branch for Wells Fargo in college at age 19. You worked on the lending side briefly out of school before becoming an advisor at age 23, and then started your own firm at the young age of 25. I understand you are a few months shy of 30 years as an advisor. Why this and why now?
Well, thank you for being here, Evan. I think it goes back to, an old saying that I think is very true, which is if you want to build it right, you got to build it yourself. I am one of the very few endowment model advisors out there, and the entire industry is built upon, Wall Street and stocks and bonds and trading and things like that. My focus is on alternative investments, and there really just wasn't a firm out there that could do what I wanted to do. So it came down to it as I, got my partners together and we decided to build our own, focusing on, this endowment model where there's a lot less stocks and bonds and there's a lot more alternative investments, because I really specialize in access to certain investments, these alternative investments, real estate, private equity, private debt, that are people can't get access to their own. I spent a 30-year career developing relationships and creating opportunities, and I want to bring things into people that they just can't get on their own. But it was getting really complicated to do, working with other groups. So my own group came together and we built our own advisory firm with the idea of being able to deploy into alternative investments, take advantage of them. And I think that's really going to be important now, because I think if anyone looks at what the stock market's done over the last year, what the stock market is probably going to do over the next decade, it's not going to get them to financial freedom. They need to be looking at other types of investments, and those happen to be the area I specialize in.
Everybody says they are different because differences are proven to be a good selling point in many lines of work, a good marketing strategy as well. How are you really different at Financial Architects, or are you?
Well, I'm sure there's other people out there that have kind of marrying, what we're doing, which is marrying the alternative investments, oftentimes which have very good tax profiles with tax strategy. There's people that do, a lot of CPAs that do tax strategy, a lot of tax strategy consultants. There are people that work on the endowment model, but I'm not aware of anybody else that is marrying the two in. Because basically, my goal is to get people to the best financial position possible. Typically, their largest expense is taxes. So if we can attack those on the front end and then put in some investments that may have very good tax profiles on the back end through the endowment model using alternative investments, then we're kind of marrying and getting the best of two possible worlds. We can reduce risk and increase return and do that, in a logical manner. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. And, we really think that this marrying of tax strategy and endowment model, alternative investments is what's going to really set us apart and really help put people in the best financial position we can.
Let's be realistic, Larry. Different doesn't necessarily work in a highly regulated industry that stresses conformity and is always looking in the rearview mirror. Complexity, ditto. How are you going to make that work?
Well, I mean, I think that there is a much complication. The regulatory world around financial advisors is such that, they look at wanting it to look like everything else, and that's what regulators want. So I think that what we're trying to do could not be done on a large scale. Like there's no way to build $1 billion RIA specializing in alternative investments. I just don't think you can do that. Because the very good deals, there just aren't going to be enough of them out there in the alternative investment world to really be able to do it effectively. So we're going to do it differently we're going to keep things in a smaller, more personal scale. I think that's one part of it, is not trying to build a huge operation here, but build a very elite and very quickly moving organization. And that means that you got to have the right people. And so I have a very big sports background, and I believe in teams and building teams. And I think we've done a great job of recruiting and bringing in some of the right strategic partners. But also, I think my team, my employees are excellent, and I think that I've got some of the best people working for me, and I think that that's huge. I always think that the greatest idea will fail with average people, but really good people can make a mediocre good idea work. And I think that's where we're at right now. Is I think we've got a really good idea and really good people. And that also means we've really got to do a good use of technology. We did go and hire a fintech firm to be our back end so that we can do a lot of things using technology that, might be more difficult at other places, so that we can have assets held in different places and consolidated so clients can kind of get a good overall picture of what we're trying to do. But I think that, staying small, staying mobile, and using technology and having the right people, those four elements are really going to make a difference. And I think with my 30 years in, wanting to do this right, I know what I want to build, and I've got the right people, and I've got the right technology. And right now we're putting it all together, and it's going to be pretty amazing.
That sounds great. So then what is the exit strategy? Sell off to a big advisory outfit in 5 to 10 years? There's been a lot of advisors cashing in and sailing off into the sunset, or maybe something else, just keep going, or maybe there's a whole other plan.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a big deal in the advisory world right now to try to build out and sell out to a bigger entity. And I've never wanted to do that. I don't think it's the best thing for my clients. So rather than that, I think I'm going to end up having what I would call a multi-generational firm, which is that both myself and my partner Sterling both have kids that are teenagers and moving up in the world. My daughter is a senior in high school. She's headed off to college. She's going to have her course of studies be directly related to what I do. And the idea is that she will come into the business at some point down the line. My son, he's only a freshman. He really is just focused on playing baseball, to be honest with you. But I think that sports background, my daughter's an equestrian. I think that the sports that they do is going to help them develop skill set that's going to be good. And so, my hope is that my kids' clients are going to be, or my clients' kids, I should say, are going to be working with my kids. And I'm not looking to sell. I'm not looking to exit. I'm looking to maintain involvement for the long term, even though I'm kind of getting up there in age. And that, my kids will be the next generation to take it over, and this thing is going to go for a while.
One more before we get out of here. You talk about sports being good preparation. You cite your children. You brought up during the course of this interview working with teams, being agile as kind of an employee and working in the business. How does sports, in your mind, convert to maybe specifically what you do?
Well, I mean, I think that some of the most valuable lessons I learned I got from playing sports. I played baseball and football in high school. In college, I played football and rugby. I played club rugby up until I was 35 years old, and my daughter came along. So then, ever since then, I've been coaching. I've coached, baseball. I've coached basketball. I even coached soccer. My daughter was into soccer for a number of years. So I think that team building is really key and crucial, that you know how to build a team, and then teams know what places people put. And then the next generation can come in and we can slot them in the appropriate spot. I will also say that although maybe I'm getting a little long in the tooth in my mid 50s here, that, a lot of our people are younger, 20s and 30s. So the team we're building is definitely going to have, 40, 50 years of runway out there in front of them, when you look at them and then my kids coming along. So, and then, hopefully, we're going to pull some other people in, and provide a lot of opportunity for growth for younger people that are looking to get into this business. So I really feel that sports has been key. That team building is key. I think it's helped me be really effective in building a team. And I think it's going to be effective in that my kids have done sports their entire lives, competing at a high level, and that they will then be able to slot in and bring those same skills over and help build this even more. Because I said it before, but I think some of the most valuable lessons I've gotten didn't come out of school. They came out of sports. They came out of team building. They came out of knowing what your role is, knowing what you're good at, knowing where you should have other people bringing in, where you're maybe not as good to help out. So I think that's the sports ethics that I learned and I've taught my kids, or tried to teach my kids as best I can, I should say, is really going to pay off, and that we're going to have a lot of success with this endeavor, and it's going to come out of that sports team building mindset.
If somebody is watching this, they may know who you are. They may not. So thanks to Chief Investment Officer from Financial Architects, Larry Steinberg. If you want to give out any information about your website or where people can find you and hunt you down, feel free.
Yeah, there's a lot of firms out there called Financial Architects. We're based in Pasadena, California. We're financialarchitects.com, so you can find out more about me there. And I will say that I'm not just Google Larry Steinberg in Pasadena, and you're going to find me. And Financial Architects in Pasadena, you will find us. You'll see that we're building quite a nice firm here, and I really believe we're doing something different and special, and we're putting a lot of effort into it. And I think it's really going to be able to produce some really good results. And it actually, one of the reasons I did this was that at my old shop where I was at before, other advisors wanted to come work with me and come, adapt my money management and have me manage money for them as well. We were never able to quite do it, but now that we've got our own operation, we're going to be bringing on other advisors, because we can do that running our own, because otherwise it was just too expensive to do and still deliver a good result for the client. But as now being my own firm and not having to siphon off profits to other people, we can come in and cost effectively deliver, my version of the endowment model, married with tax mitigation, and bringing in other advisors in order to do it really, really well. And I'm very excited about that.
All right, that's going to wrap things up. Again, thanks to Chief Investment Officer of Financial Architects, Larry Steinberg. This is the Financial Architects Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Makovsky, and we will see you on the next episode.